Welcome. This is Miguel Martinez. I'm the career specialist for the College of Education, and I wanted to welcome you today to Building Your Resume. This is a webinar that's going to help you start that process of developing a healthy, strong resume for employment opportunities. And so I wanted to take a moment and just to kind of remind you, this is a learning experience. This is going to take us some time. This is just the beginning of that process. So what is a resume? The resume really is there to help you promote yourself. It's advertisement. It's there representing you when you're not in the room. It really focuses on introducing yourself and showing the employer that you're motivated to work there. So these are resumes, but what specifically is a teacher resume? It's going to go a little bit beyond your regular resume. We're really going to communicate your commitment to student success, teaching and learning. You're going to highlight your credentials, your degrees, qualifications, certifications, and you're going to focus on your future key accomplishments. What's the resume is going to look like? Here's an example of what a healthy, strong first draft of good resume is going to look like. Now, I don't want to say this is exactly how it's going to look. At the end of the day, this is about you and understanding yourself and how you want to present yourself. These are just some key things that I think are important. But let's talk about just some of the must. One, you want to stay within that one page. I know it's going to be a little hard, and I'm hoping to give you some strategies on how to make sure that we get all this great information to one page. And you want to use this 1-inch margin. Look at this example that we have here. It really showcases what a strong resume is going to look like. Notice that I'm not giving I'm going to move my picture around a little bit. Notice I'm not giving an inch. It's full of information. And I'm going to make sure that I'm providing the recruiter, the employer, the principal, the information that they're going to need to really take me serious as a candidate. We talked about the 1-inch margins. So look, don't make it too small in the sense of wanting to pack so much information. Typically, you want to keep it to 11 to 12-inch font. And you don't want to go really way back. You want to stay at a certain time limit. Now, this is hard, and this is a webinar, and it doesn't apply to every student because we do have some returning folks who left a profession and are coming back, but typically want to stay away from going back 10 years. One of the things that I want to have you focus on is understanding the recruitment part. A lot of recruiters talk to me about the need to access these resumes and provide them quick information. So we're going to talk about the 45-second review, which is the understanding that they're going to want to see information right up front. About 30% of what they're going to need is going to be on the, what would you say, 1/3 of the page. And so we're going to pack a lot of information to make it easy for these recruiters to come and talk to us. I'm going to now remove my picture so I could stay focused and make sure that I give you enough viewing opportunity. Overall, we're looking at including in that resume your personal information. That's your heading. That information, we're going to go a little bit more what entails. Then is the objective, and that's optional. Moving on to our credential education. Then we're moving on to talking a little bit about our teaching experience, and then related experience or other work experience. And I'll talk to you about what that means. Skills sections and activities. So that's a breakdown of a strong resume, a teacher resume. And so when I'm giving you this advice, this is very specific to someone who is finishing their last semester of a credential program and are looking to get hired in their first year. When we're looking at your header, provide me your name. It should be bolded. It should be a little bigger in size of of the rest of the information because I want to be able to see your name clearly. We're going to move on to your current home address. One of the trends that we're seeing is folks are just now doing or putting down the city, the state, and the zip code they live in. You're going to include your phone number. Make sure the outgoing message is professional voicemail. And then you're going to include your email. I would suggest that you use your school email, your Fullerton email, specifically if you're trying to apply here in the county. You're graduating from a credential program that has a strong reputation, not only within the county, but in the state. So utilize it. And lastly, and this is an option, you could add your LinkedIn address, or you could customize and have your portfolio, your school portfolio. A lot of students are doing online portfolios showcasing some of their lesson plans and some of the things they've done while they were doing student teaching. This is a great way to add to your resume, and it doesn't take a lot of room. So next up would be your developing your objective or your objective area. And I'm a fan of the objective. This is an optional piece though, and I want to make that clear. It's not for everyone, but if you do decide to do the objective, I strongly recommend that you follow this example or this formula. And it's, you must include the name of the position that you're applying to, name the district, and a little bit about what you skills, experience, expertise with the position. So I'm going to give you, and I'm going to read the objective a little out loud because I'm really impressed by this student's objective. So to obtain a secondary teaching position at Chino Valley Unified School District and implement culturally sustained teaching in a way that emphasizes creativity, collaboration, focus on students' cultural and linguistic resources and funds of knowledge. It's a lot, but as I'm reading this and I'm from Chino Valley, there's some things that I'm gonna pick up. At Chino Valley, if you go into their mission statement, they're really big on culturally sustaining teaching, as well as emphasizing collaboration and focus on students' cultural and linguistic resources. So what you want to do is really take time to do your research on that employer. It's going to pay dividends. The more research you have, the better your resume and your cover letters are going to come out because you're really focusing on tailoring these documents to the position. The idea that one resume is going to fit all, that's 10 years ago. Every resume from now on has to be tailored to the position, has to be tailored to the organization you're applying to. I really can't stress this enough. You have to do that kind of work. And so had this person not done their research, they wouldn't have known about the culturally sustaining teaching. Or more importantly, the funds of knowledge. That's some of the resources that they use to teach and cultivate that kind of learning environment. And so as you identify that, that tells the recruiter that you've done some work. The objective is a really handy way of making yourself stand out. And at the end of the day, that's how we're our focus. How do we stand out? Next on our list is the education listing of the education section. You want to make sure that you're putting on your credential first and then your other degrees. And if you do want to include your GPA, make sure it's a 3.5 and higher. And so give you an example of how you're going to showcase your education, credential/education, the name of the institution that you're graduating, California State University, Fullerton, single subject, credential in English, and when you expect to graduate. And then your other degrees. This is, if you did not graduate from Fullerton, you're coming from another institution, this is where you would place that. As we're moving forward, the next on our list is our teaching experience. And this is going to, I'm spending some time here because it's important. So one of the things you want to make sure is that you're showcasing and calling it teaching experience. What goes in here? It's in the name. Any type of teaching experience you've had, from your student teaching, subbing, if you taught another country at a community college, anything that does with teaching. So you're going to ask me, is my tutoring position going to go in here? Tutoring is not teaching. Okay. What about my counselor? It's not teaching. And I am going to repeat that because that's one of the things I have a lot of, some students have a hard time. because you're in education, you want to kind of squeeze it into teaching. Basically, what we want to see here is your experience in the classroom and how you managed it. So you named the institution, city and state, the time you were there, and your title. And then we're going to go move on to our bullets. I'm going to spend some time on the bullets because these are very important. Think of a dish and your bullets are the seasoning that's going to help spice this up. And more importantly, it's going to give it your spices, your flavoring. So it's important that you take time to reflect on this. And I'm going to also encourage you to reflect on your experience in your student teaching, because these bullets are going to help you, not just in formulating and showcasing what you've done, but they're also going to be useful when you go into the interview and talk about those experiences. And so let's dive in a little bit more on how to develop a bullet. So writing strong content is going to be important. These spices, these bullets are going to help tell the employer, tell that principal, not just the concepts that you use, but how did you use them and what was the results. So let's go back and look at this bullet point formula. You're going to start this off with an action verb that really helps tell the story. And then we're going to move on to the job responsibility, the purpose, the method, the scope of how and what you did. And the last part, the most, I think for me, the most important part is the result or accomplishment. So let's take a moment and just kind of read this bullet in front of us. And I'm gonna start it off. Manage a classroom of 30 plus students independently using positive behavioral management strategies, which created a positive learning environment. You saw that? So I'm telling the people and I'm telling the recruiters and the principal what I did, what purpose, method, scope was I using, and what was the result. This is really going to be important because the result is going to be different. It's going to showcase your personal experience in that classroom. How many bullets should I have? Well, that's really going to be up to you and the size of your resume. It's hard to give you advice because each student's going to be different. And so I'm very hesitant of telling you this is exactly, it's not as subscribe as you may think. It's really up to you and how you want to provide this information. But for sure, you want to take time to develop these bullets that are going to help tell your story. Now let's move on to the other section, which is the other related experience / other work experience. And so you're going to name the place, the city and state, how long you were there, and then you're going to talk about the position or write down the position and then go back to your bullets. Now, the related experience / other work experience, you don't have to use both. I just want to take a moment to say that if you have experiences in the education field, this is what you would put it. This is where you would place it. So we were talking about your tutoring positions, after school coordinator, anything that has to do with teaching. You work with Boys and Girls Club, Think Together, camp counselor. Again, anything with education, it's going to be called related experience. Now, for a lot of the folks who are watching this and have no other related education experience, don't worry. Your section, we're going to call it other work experience. And so this is an opportunity for you to bring in other experiences you've had as a professional. Then you're going to name the organization, city and state, how long you were there, and then your title. We don't want to throw away your past experience just because they're not in education. Remember, this resume is to showcase your past experiences and your story, your trajectory into you becoming a teacher. So if you don't have any experience in education, it doesn't mean you have to throw away your other job experiences. We're going to move on to my skills section. And so here's where you're really going to showcase and tell us what you bring to the table. Any certifications, language skills, professional development, all that area, you're going to put it in here. And some of them, you're going to go more in depth and explain them to me. So the student I was working with came into my office, and as her bullet had transitioned to online learning. And I was explaining to them that sometimes you got to go more in depth in explaining what that means. So think about not just telling me, showing me. So now there's a difference between transitioning to online learning, and then check this out. Transitioning to online learning, created lesson plans, posted assignments, and uploaded grades. You see how now the reader was able to visualize that person doing all these things. We're going to move on and I'm going to showcase the second, and that's my proficiency in computer programs. And this, a lot of our students sometimes forget. So make sure you take time and create a list of all the computer programs and the proficiencies that you have, as well as any kind of applications, any kind of technology that you utilize in the classroom. This is a great way you want to put it on. So your Microsoft, your PowerPoint, Excel, Windows, Mac, Android, Google, Chrome, Safari, Google Classroom, the iPads, the e-readers, any type of technology, this is where you would want to place it. And then I want you to specifically pay attention to the third bullet, which is the areas grading and assign assignments through person realize. Now, this particular person put this and placed this bullet individually. She could have put it into the proficiencies in computer programs, right? But because she knows that the school district is utilizing areas, she wanted to make sure that it stands out. And that's going to be the name of the game as you're thinking about your resumes, ensuring that you're creating a resume that really connects you to the organization, to that school district, to that school. How you're going to do research. And that's why I was in the beginning of this webinar, we talked about the importance of doing research. The more you know about the place you're applying to, the better you're going to be able to write these strong resumes and these cover letters. And so oftentimes I have students come in and they highlight something like communication. And so that's very basic. I want you to go further. What do you mean? So this person was like, frequent workshops and presentations delivered, interpersonal skills, and grant writing. Do you see the difference when you go more in depth and really show us? Don't just tell us what that looks like. And lastly, don't forget, if you speak another language, this is a great way to showcase that. So that's our skill section. I could talk and talk on skill sections for a long time, but again, this webinar is just here to give you an introduction and get you started into creating a strong resume. So what are the do's? Making sure that you're tailoring your resume to the job, maintain your current contact information. You want to use professional email address, and be honest. They want to know about you. So take time to reflect on your experience so that you could create a really engaging, powerful resume that tells your story. Make sure that when it's in the past, you're using the correct tense, and when you're in the present. And you're constantly updating your resume and you're proofreading it. Now, here's the last tip I want to have for you. And that I'm going to come back on video. Okay, here we go. So there's a lot of things that when we meet, we're going to talk about, but this is my big advice to you. The day of that one resume fits all, it's over. So your homework for today is to create a resume that reflects your experiences. I'm going to start with anything that happened after you graduated from high school. And you're like, but Miguel, you just told me you want to keep it under one page. Yes, that's the goal. But that's going to be your master resume. You're going to put everything on here. Okay. You're going to spend a lot of time. I'm not going to lie to you. This is going to be work. A good, strong resume, it takes anywhere from 40 to about 70 hours, because you're constantly upgrading, changing things around. But once you created this beautiful master resume, it's going to be okay, because Here's the strategy. You're going to look at the job announcement from that school district, and you're going to assign, you're going to bring out your highlighters, and you're going to assign colors to those experiences. This is the tip. This is the winning tip. So think about your experience. So orange, I'm going to go that with my student teaching. Yellow, the courses in my credential program. Maybe I used to be a sub, or any experience with past education related. This is my other jobs. Maybe my volunteer. You choose the colors, you choose to assign however you want them. But when you see that job announcement, and you see that there's opportunity, let's say at Fullerton Unified School District, you're going to read the job announcement, and now you're going to use that color, and you're going to take time and really dissect that job announcement. That's going to be critical because that's your invitation to apply. So you want to take time to read it. Folks, please, please, please. This is important because we underestimate the power of that announcement. So you're going to kind of use your highlighters and your experiences. Afterwards, after you read this job announcement and you broke it down as there's things that they're asking you, you're kind of thinking through, okay, these are duties assigned. What set of skills should I have in order to perform it correctly? What experience have I had or technical abilities and so forth? So you're really engaging that job announcement so that you could go into with your highlighters, and now you decoded that job specific announcement to your experiences. And now you're going to be ready to create that strong resume that's going to bind you. And it's going to look a little bit like this after, yeah. So you notice my color coding. So now you're going to have something like color coding informing you not just how you connect, but in what capacity. So now you're going to take your master resume, and then you're going to cut and paste. Personal information, it's not going to change. If you choose to ejective, that will change. My credential and education, cut and paste. Teaching experience, cut and paste. And whatever other related experience or other work experience connects you to that job, you'll put it in here. Your skills section. And if you had any other activities, so let's say you were a coach, you were a volunteer, and you feel that this is going to connect you to that job, this is another great way to highlight yourself and your past experience. So now you created a brand new resume that really connects you to that specific job announcement from Fullerton. And then you're going to go back, and then now you're going to see, oh, look, there's an opportunity at Westminster. So you're going to go back, read that job announcement, bring out the highlighters, and then so forth and so forth. That master resume is going to be worth that work because you're going to be able to use it in multiple ways. So that's my tip for today. I think we're going to be able to end the presentation. My name is Miguel Martinez. I am your career counselor. Check out the website at the Career Center to find out when my office hours or how to set up an appointment. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I look forward to connecting with you. And a quick reminder, we do have every spring, we have a job fair. For this particular year, it's going to be on March 16, 2021. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I look forward to connecting with you in person. Have a great day.